the U.S. markets open, we are keeping an eye on Wall Street as the week begins, and overseas anxieties have people worried.
Yeah, the Dow is plunging, no surprise, after futures fell about 500 points. It's because U.S. oil prices have topped $100 a barrel for the first time since 2022 amid the escalating conflict in the Middle East. The spike in energy prices now raising new fears about something called stagflation. It's a combination of rising inflation and slowing economic growth.
For more on this, we are joined by NBC News senior business correspondent Christine Romans. Christine, good morning. Thanks for being with us on this breaking news right as the markets open. So a lot to get through here. One, of course, is also just this number here. Oil at about $100 a barrel. Mix that with what we're seeing from the market. Walk us through these indicators this morning.
Yeah, you have a stock market that is clearly rattled by an escalating war in the Middle East, and the big concern is an inflation shock because of dramatically higher energy prices. You talked about that crude oil price topping $100 a barrel overnight. Let me give you the number for reference. Before the U.S. and Israel launched airstrikes in Iran, oil prices were $67 a barrel. So in a matter of just over a week, 10 days now, you've had a dramatic increase in a very core cost for business and governments. So watching oil, a big problem with the oil situation is the Strait of Hormuz is essentially closed. This is something that most of us have never seen in our lifetimes. One ship going through in a period of a week or something. You have no traffic through there. That's a fifth of the world's energy supply. That means the oil producers have filled up all of their storage, and now they're producing less. All of this has knock-on effects, taking it longer and longer to get back online eventually. Again, that's why the stock market is down so much here. Last week was the worst week in the stock market since April. Adding on to those losses this week, oil prices bubbling from 67 to well over $100 a barrel. We'll see if they can start to stabilize here. I'm also watching diesel prices, jet fuel prices. Those are up, both of them dramatically. If you are a trucker or a farmer in the United States, your costs have gone up a lot in the last week. If you are looking to buy an airline ticket, the airline CEOs are watching how those higher costs are going to make airline tickets more expensive. So there are just a lot of different ways that what's happening very far away has very material effects on the American pocketbook.
Yeah, you're talking about travel. We know that summer travel is supposed to be up 4%, and people are just starting to think about their airline tickets for that. So we look at two things here. We know inflation is bad. We also know a stagnant economy is bad. You put the two together and you have this thing called stagflation. That's the worry right now, right? Because we're seeing inflationary worries, but we also saw late last week the job market fell.
That is the worst word in the economic dictionary, stagflation. It is something we haven't seen very many times, and when we've had, it's been very dangerous and difficult to get out of. And that is where you have inflation going up and an economy that is stagnant. We saw last week that the job market was showing some weakness. So you've got some weakening under the hood of the economy. At the same time, you have these prices, these energy prices growing. Mohamed El-Erian, who is a famous economist, was just saying this morning that he thinks that CPI, consumer inflation, for this year could average 3%. We could see maybe as high as 3.5%. That's well above where the Fed wants to be. That means the Fed is sort of handcuffed here. You want to cut interest rates if the job market is faltering, which it appears to be, but you want to raise interest rates if you've got an inflation problem, which seems to be possible as well. So that means that policymakers don't have a lot of wiggle room here. There's some concern that maybe other central banks around the world could start raising interest rates to try to get inflation under control. So a lot of different cross currents here that are all kind of a difficult moment. We had talked about how falling gas prices were the good part of the affordability story for so many American families. In fact, the president at his State of the Union had called out energy prices as a sign, that inflation was under control. That has reversed and then some very, very quickly here. Bank of America economists have pointed out that rising prices for a lot of other things, families could tolerate it because the gas prices were falling. But now that is not the case anymore. So we'll watch very carefully to see what this means for consumer spending, what it means for small businesses, and how long this lasts. That's the big question, you guys. At this point, there doesn't seem to be an off-ramp in this war in the Middle East.
How does that mean that this calms down in any relatively soon period, or we just think it might not?
Well, the president has outlined some things that they hope in a matter of a week or 2 weeks will start to free up some of that shipping in the Strait of Hormuz. That will help. When I look at the futures market, I can see that there are some way out in the distance, there are some oil prices at like $71 a barrel. That tells me that eventually investors think this is going to work itself out. And so that's the good news. The good news is eventually this will likely work. But we don't know if that's days, if that's weeks, if that's months. And in the near term, it means families right now are paying more money to fill up their gas tank. I've talked to a lot of people who say, I can't fill it all the way up. If I've got an SUV, it's like $90 to fill it up. I can't do that. I'm just doing a little bit at a time. I mean, my advice is if you were holding off on a plane ticket, buy the plane ticket. If you've been thinking, if you only want to put in $15 in gas, try to fill it up today because it could be more expensive tomorrow. Those are the kinds of pieces of advice people are kind of grappling with right now. And then we wait for other signs from G7 countries, from the White House, what they say they can do in the near term to try to mitigate rising oil prices.
But what are the options? I mean,
there's Strategic Petroleum Reserve. There's global countries tapping all of their energy surpluses. In theory, we have plenty of supply in the United States, but this is a global market, and you have a fifth of global supply is not moving through the Strait of Hormuz. That's really a big deal. That hasn't happened. So we don't really have a playbook for what's going to happen next year.
All right. Christine Romans, thank you so much. We'll keep bringing you the latest on Wall Street, Main Street, and, of course, everything going on in the Middle East throughout the day right here on NBC News Now.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.